Hey y'all, hey. So we're going to say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Now, meet Mr. Clyde Kennard. And I know in this picture it looks like he is having a jazzy time. Look at that smile, baby. But when you learn what is actually taking place in this picture, it breaks your heart. I learned about Mr. Kennard actually seeing his name on a building, and other black students told me what was going on. And I grew up in a southern Mississippi area. My father's side of the family grew up around 30 minutes away from University of Southern Miss, where this young man tried to attend. At the time, it was called Mississippi Southern College, and he was denied. He tried a couple of times, and it cost him his freedom and eventually his life. So yeah, this young man, Clyde Kennard, was born June 12th, 1927, on a farm. He was one of 5 children, and at the age of 12, he moves to Chicago. Great migration, like many black persons at that time, to go live with his sister and attend school. At 18, he joined the U.S. Army, served for 7 years in Germany and Korea, and received a dishonorable discharge. Upon discharge, he used some of his military pay to put down a down payment of a 20-acre farm in Eatonville, Mississippi, where his mother and stepfather lived. In 1955, his stepdad dies, and so Kennard's like, I'm going home to go help my mom, who was 60 years old at the time, run the family farm. Now, Kennard had completed 3 years of political science curriculum at the University of Chicago. However, he got to be there for his family, and he was like, I don't want to waste the time that I spent. Let me go ahead and enroll in a school in Mississippi. And there were no black colleges in Mississippi at that time, so he enrolled in the one that was 15 minutes from his home, or tried to anyways, which was the all-white institution of the Mississippi Southern University, which is now University of Southern Mississippi, to the top. Even with all this craziness, yeah, I spent a lot of coin there and got 2 degrees there. Sorry. So anyways, though, in 1955, that's when Kennard applied initially, and he was denied because he didn't have 5 references. So the president at the time of the college, William McCain, was like, hey, you need 5 references from Forest County, where you live. But when Kennard asked for that list, McCain told him that list wasn't available. And it was all white men anyways, and baby, they were not breaking from status quo at that time. So Kennard, he was deterred. He persisted, and on December 6, 1958, he wrote a letter to the local newspaper, the Hattiesburg MS, stating that he's going to try to enroll again in the January quarter. However, Mississippi Southern Commission, they found out about it, and the Southern Commission was the institutionalism of racism, of course, which still unfortunately plagues this country. I was going to say Mississippi, but this country today. It was a state agency that was built to keep segregation. I ain't gonna go any more into it because I want to go on a rant, but time. So Southern Commission, they decided to get a former FBI agent named Van Lanningham to respond by investigating this young man. They wanted some derogatory information about Kennard. They couldn't find anything, even after they viewed his financial history, his personal life, and employment records. The governor at the time, Mr. Coleman, was told there are no grounds for refusing this young man's application. So Van Lanningham tried to recruit some Uncle Toms, and black educators were called on to tell Kennard not to apply and actually withdraw, cease and desist from his attempt to enroll in Mississippi Southern College. He wasn't going. Kennard was like, nah, fam, y'all on some other stuff. So the governor decided to meet with him personally. And in 1959, January, they met, Coleman and Kennard, and Coleman told Kennard it is not the appropriate time, it's not the right political climate, and it's going to take time to change it. Kennard agreed. He withdrew. But a semester later, in August, he was like, nah, I don't feel that in my spirit. I'm going to apply again. And then he messed up by telling some dude named Aubrey Lucas, who was the admissions director, that he was going to apply and that he was ready to go to court if you don't let him in. He wrote a 7-page letter. I was about to sing Aaliyah, but this is not the right time. Anyways, and that was a 4-page letter. Anyways, on September 15th, though, Kennard, in his attempt to register, he went to McCain's office claiming like, hey, you said I didn't give you the University of Chicago's transcript. However, I did. You know, you're just using this to hem me up. And as he was leaving, Kennard leaving McCain's office, who was the admissions director, he was approached by 2 Forest County constables. And they said, hey, you was driving at an excessive speed and you have illegal possession of whiskey, so we're taking you to jail. Now, dude was a devout Baptist. He did not drink. And as I stated, he was walking to his car. So, baby, you didn't see him drive at all. And he had just came out of McCain's office arguing about admissions. Whatever. 2 weeks later, a judge found him guilty. Now, Kennard, he appealed to the Mississippi Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court, but both denied him. Both were unsuccessful for his conviction. Now, Mississippi Sovereign Commission, they were like, hey, we got to do something more. And they decided to frame this young man, a young man named Johnny Lee Roberts, who worked at the Forest County Cooperative, was found stealing 5 bags of chicken feed, and it was worth $25. Now, Roberts, they found him, they had him hook, line, and sinker, but they were like, hey, if you say Kennard was in it with you, you'll get your job back. We ain't gonna do nothing to you. And so that's exactly what he did. He said that Kennard planned it. So then Kennard was arrested for accessory and charged with a felony where he was sentenced to 7 years by an all-white jury who took less than 10 minutes to even confer. And this man was sent to Parchman to work on a cotton plantation. Now, while he was there, he worked 6 days out of the week. On Sundays, he was sweet as pie because he was teaching people how to read and write. But eventually, Mr. Kennard, he complained about stomach pain. And it was so bad that they took him to the hospital, University of Mississippi Hospital in Jackson, where the doctors, so from Hattiesburg to Jackson, that's a 90-minute drive, and they found a large lesion on his left colon. But they did not give him any medical treatment. He went right back to them fields of cotton, picked that cotton, boy, yeah. They ain't care nothing about us. They still don't. Let's be clear. So, in 1962, a hospital medical records librarian, Mary Center, reported that doctors had only given Kennard a 20% chance to live. And so she advocated that this man, Kennard, be released and plead to the governor, who at that time changed to Ross Barnett. Barnett wasn't hearing it. Now, at this time, Kennard lost 40 pounds due to his illness, and prison guards were saying this dude is faking. They will make prisoners, his fellow prisoners, take him to the fields, literally carry him to the fields, and literally carry him back to his cell whenever he collapsed, still working in a plantation with colon cancer. Now, the story leaked, and supporters began to campaign and protest. And so after 2 months of protests in February 1963, Ross Barnett did suspend this young man's sentence. And Kennard flew to Chicago, where he was going to have emergency surgery. So this is Kennard and his sister Sarah, and they're getting off the plane at the airport in Chicago to head to the hospital. Now, Kennard unfortunately dies on July 4th, 1963 dyslexia. He died July 4th, 1963 at the age of 36 and was buried in Forest County, Mississippi, at the church where he once taught Sunday school and directed the youth choir. In 1991, the Clarion Ledger requested that the Sovereign Commission documents be unsealed, which proved that this young man was framed. And Lee Roberts, he in 2006 told the Clarion Ledger, which is a Jackson newspaper, that he was asked to set up Mr. Kennard. Now, this is a picture that's outside of the Registrar's building that I saw, and on March 3rd, 2006, Governor Haley Barbour declared it Clyde Kennard Day, and on May 16th, a circuit court judge declared that Kennard was innocent of his bogus charges. Child, that was a lot of tea.